Hi guys, this is Vineet. In today's video, we will take you through a walkthrough of SSIS Designer in SQL Server. Before we proceed ahead, I would request you guys to please subscribe to my channel. There's a subscribe button below this video. Click on that subscribe button, and once you click on the subscribe button, it will change to subscribe button and it will show you a bell icon. Click on that bell icon, select all notifications to get notifications regarding all my future videos. Now, why to subscribe? Subscribe because you need to excel in your career and achieve job with a high salary package. So that's the reason to subscribe. And let's move ahead. Let me share some of the motivational tips to gain mastery in SQL Server. So some of these tips are try to spend at least 3 to 4 hours per day watching SQL Server videos on my channel in case you are doing a 9-hour job shift. Otherwise, you have whole day to spend watching my videos and learn more knowledge on SQL Server. Second point is that you can utilize your Saturdays and Sundays fully to cover all the videos in all my SQL Server playlists. Links are also given in the description for all these playlists, so check them out. And I would suggest not wasting your time, especially on these days, the Saturdays and Sundays. Take break for 15 minutes after watching videos every hour. And take care of your health so that you can focus all your energy and efforts on learning the SQL Server stuff, and show your dedication towards advancing your career by investing more of your time in learning and getting a job with high salary package. Now, there are some points to remember. I would request you guys to please watch this video till the end to gain better clarity of the concept, and if it's possible for you, please watch this video twice. Perform any exercises in your test and lab environments only. Do not touch any production environments or production databases. And we would like to know your thoughts and comments regarding our videos. So please do share your comments. Also, let us know if you want us to make videos on any particular topic. We will try to make them as soon as possible. And in case you need the PDF copy of the notes discussed during the video, there are two methods. First one is the paid method. The second one is the free method. So in first method, what you need to do, you need to send me an email with the title of the video on my email address vrmavane@gmail.com. So once I receive your email, I will check the video title and send you the payment link to download the PDF notes. Once you make the payment, you will be able to download the PDF notes. Second method is free, in which you just have to subscribe to my channel. There's a subscribe button below this video. Click on that subscribe button. It will change to subscribe button. So once it's changed to subscribe button, take a screenshot of that area. That should include the subscribe button, my channel name, and the video title, and send that screenshot to me as a proof of subscription to my email address vrmavane@gmail.com. So once I receive your email, I will check for the proof of subscription and I will check for the video title, and upon checking the video title, I will send you the PDF notes over the email itself. Now I have created some or curated some playlist for you to watch, and all the links are available in video descriptions. So first one is the SQL Server database design playlist, consists of database design videos. And this playlist contains around 46 videos. And second playlist is on SQL Server tables, and this contains 3 videos. The third playlist is on business continuity playlist. It consists of 49 videos. And the fourth one is SQL Server indexing playlist. It contains videos on SQL Server indexing. It has 10 videos, around 10 videos at present. And the fifth one is the SQL Server performance tuning playlist. This one contains around 15 videos. And sixth one is SQL Server integration services playlist. It contains currently 6 videos, and the video content is increasing in this playlist. This video is also related to integration services, so the video count will increase in the integration services playlist. The last link is my channel page link, which is youtube.com/@SQL Talks by Vineet. You can visit my channel page. You can subscribe from there as well. On my channel page, you will find the trending videos, the videos viewers are watching most, and along with that, you will find all the playlist I've curated for you. You can check out all the playlist to gain more knowledge on each and every domain in SQL Server. Now, Let's come back to today's topic, which is walkthrough of SSIS Designer in SQL Server. So this will be a mix of theory and practical. So let me take you to notes. So let's first discuss about the SQL SSIS Designer. So let me select my pen pointer here, and after that we will continue. So today we are talking about the SSIS Designer. And SSIS Designer is basically a graphical tool that we can use to create and maintain integration services packages. So in SSIS Designer, we basically design the integration services packages. We basically create the integration services packages inside the SSIS Designer. And SSIS Designer is available in SQL Server Data Tools or SSDT as part of the integration services project. So whenever we open up or create a new integration services project in Visual Studio, it basically opens up the SSIS Designer to design the package. Now we can use SSIS Designer to perform the following tasks. So what are some of these tasks? So first one is the constructing the control flow in a package. So we can create a control flow in SSIS Designer. We can construct data flows in a package. We'll talk about them in detail later. We can add event handlers to the package and the package objects. We'll talk about event handlers later. We can view the package contents, and at runtime we can view the execution progress of the package as well in the SSIS Designer. So these are some of the tasks which we can perform in SSIS Designer. So go through this list again, and now let's move ahead. Now let me show you the interface of the SSIS Designer. So in order to do that, you need to open up Visual Studio. So let's open up Visual Studio here. I have Visual Studio 2022 Community Edition, which is basically free edition, and that's good for training purposes. So once it loads, what I will do, I will create an integration services project, and that will basically show us the SSIS Designer window and the toolbox window. So let me show you that quickly. So now it is launched. We have some integration services project saved earlier. So let me open the last one we had saved. So on the over the left hand side, if you would see, well, let's wait for the project to load. So the project is loaded now. So on the left hand side you see SSIS toolbox. It does not contain anything. Right now it's loading for control flow tab. This is the control flow tab, and let's click on close. So toolbox is still loading. Okay, now the toolbox is loaded for the control flow tab. So this particular complete interface is showing us the toolbox, as well as the middle section is the design area. You see package.dtsx design. So this is the design area. We are on the control flow tab. Next is the data flow tab. We will talk about them later. Now let's go back to notes quickly. So okay, so integration services includes the additional dialog boxes as well as the windows for adding functionality to the packages, and SQL Server Data Tools provide dialog boxes and windows for configuring the development environment and working with the packages. So this is very basic. Now let's talk about SSIS Designer. So SSIS Designer has no dependency on the integration services, the service that monitors and manages packages, and it is not required that the service be running to create or modify packages in SSIS Designer. So let's talk about that service. So if we open the services console here, so let me open the services console. So if we open the services and we go to SQL Server Services, you see we have integration services for the default instance of SQL Server. So this is the associated service which runs the integration services. So what this theory is telling us that SSIS Designer is not dependent on that service, that particular SQL Server integration service, and basically SSIS server monitors and manages the packages, and it is not compulsory for this integration service which is shown here to be running in order to design the packages in SSIS. So this service should be running is not required if we want to just create or modify packages in SSIS Designer. Even if the service is stopped, we will still be able to create the SSIS Designer packages. Now, however, if you stop the service while SSIS Designer is open, you can no longer open the dialog boxes that SSIS Designer provides, and you may receive the error message RPC server is unavailable. So let me see if we get this error. We are inside the Visual Studio, SSIS Designer is open. Let me try to stop this integration services. Let's see if we get some error or not. Let me add a profile task and see if we get some error message. So task is added. Let's try to double click on this. So dialog boxes are still opening. So far I haven't received any error messages. And let me open the getting started box. It is also opening fine. So that service is not really causing any errors, although theory is stating otherwise. We have stopped the service while the SSIS Designer is open in the background, and we are still able to open some of the dialog boxes that the SSIS Designer provides. I don't know why it's written like that. And we may receive, but it's not essential that we receive the error message. Sometimes we receive RPC server is unavailable. So if we get this kind of error message, just check and make sure that this service is started. Alright, so let's start this service which enables the integration services. But we are talking about the scenario where you get the RPC server is unavailable. If you get this error message, just make sure that the integration services is running. Now to reset the SSIS Designer and continue working with the package, you must close the designer, exit SQL Server Data Tools, and then reopen SQL Server Data Tools. So in case we get this error in the SSIS Designer, what we should do, we should immediately close that package and reopen the SQL Server Data Tools or that particular package. The integration services project and the package should be reloaded in case you get the RPC server is unavailable error message. Now let's talk about the undo and redo. So basically these are the commands that are available in the edit menu. So there's an undo and there is redo. So undo basically undoes the operation which we did last. So let's read more about them. So we are talking about the undo and redo operation, and we can undo and redo up to 20 actions in the SSIS Designer. So it keeps track of history of 20 actions which we can undo or redo. For a package, undo redo is unavailable in the control flow. But we were in the control flow, but yeah, still undo and redo is available, so that line is also not valid. So undo and redo is also available in the control flow. Okay, it is available in the, so it is talking where the undo and redo is available. So it is available in the control flow. It is available on the data flow tab. So the data flow tab is the second tab here. So undo and redo operations are available here as well. And there is also event handler tab. So the undo and redo operations are also available for event handlers and the parameters tab. Now where is the parameters tab? This is the third one. This is the parameters tab, and we have undo and redo actions available for this tab as well. Now And the undo and redo is also available for the variables window. We had discussed about this window earlier as well, but let's see if we have a variable window here. If it's not available here, what you can do is under extension SSIS you can select variable. So this is the window. Here also we have undo and redo action available, options available. So this is the variable window. Let me close it and let's go back to notes. So for a project, undo and redo is unavailable. It's available in the project parameters window. So it's talking about the project. So undo and redo is also available in the project parameters window, which we have already discussed. Parameter tab is also there. There's a parameters window as well, I think, which can be accessed from here, SSIS. So parameters is not showing over here, but let me see if it's shown up in the other windows. So in other windows we have variables but not parameters. Parameters you can only see the tab, so let's ignore it for now. So let's move to next paragraph, which is you cannot undo and redo changes to a new SSIS toolbox. So if we have made any changes to the SSIS toolbox, we cannot undo and redo those changes. When you make changes to the component using the component editor, you undo and redo the changes as a set rather than undoing and redoing individual changes. So whenever we add a component to a control flow window, like we are on a control flow window, and let me add a bulk insert task here. So whatever changes I made to a task, if I undo that, it will revert all the changes, not a single change. So this is what it is saying, that when you make a changes to a component using the component editor, you undo and redo the changes as a set rather than undoing and redoing the changes as individual changes. Now the set of changes appear as a single action in the undo and redo drop down list. Now let's talk about the individual parts of SSIS Designer. So parts of SSIS Designer. So SSIS Designer has 5 permanent tabs. So we have shown you these tabs: control flow, data flow, parameters, event handlers, and package tab. So let's discuss about them. So it has 5 permanent tabs and one each for building package, and these tabs are control flow, data flow, parameters, event handlers, and one tab is also there for viewing the contents of the package. So these are the 5 tabs which are available here. We are talking about these tabs here. So these 5 tabs are available for building the package, the SSIS package, and one tab is there to view the contents of the package. So that is the last tab, which shows us the package content, the executables, etc. Let's move to control tab and go back to notes. Now at runtime a 6 tab also appears. So if we build a SSIS package and run that package, a 6 tab will also appear, and that shows the execution progress basically of a package while it is running, and the execution results after it finishes. So this comes when we run the package. So later on we will show you how to view that tab when we actually execute the packages. Now in addition, SSIS Designer also includes the connection managers area. So let me show you where is that area. So connection area come at the bottom here. You see connection manager over here. So this is the connection manager area. Let's discuss about that. So SSIS Designer includes the connection managers area for adding and configuring the connection managers that a package uses to connect to a data source basically. So in connection manager we basically build the connection. So whatever connections are there, that comes under the connections manager. Whatever connections we built to the source data, so that comes under the connections manager area. Now let's talk about the control flow tab, which is the first tab in the designer. So this one is the control flow tab, the first one. This is the control flow tab where we see the bulk insert task. Now let's discuss about this tab, control flow tab. We construct the control flow in a package on the design surface of the control flow tab. So basically in control flow tab we design the control flow. So we put some task and use connectors to connect those tasks under the control flow tab. Now basically this control flow tab is used in a package. Basically it is used to design a package on the design surface of the control flow tab, and we basically drag the items from the toolbox to the design surface and connect them to the control flow by clicking the icon for the item and then dragging the arrow from one item to another. So what this is referring to is we basically connect tasks. So right now we have one task here, and suppose we have a data profiling task also here. We can create a sequence of execution by dragging arrows. So when we click a task we see a green arrow. We can connect tasks like this, so this arrow basically shows the execution sequence. So bulk insert task will execute first, and after it executes it will execute the data profiling task. Alright, so this is what it was mentioning. So we drag the items from the toolbox to the design surface we have just shown you, and we connect them using the arrows in a control flow, and by clicking the icon for the item and then dragging the arrow from one item to another. We have just shown you how to do that. Now let's talk about the data flow tab, which is the second tab in the SSIS Designer. Right now there is nothing on this tab. So if a package contains a data flow task, so in order to use the data flow tab you need to add the data flow task, which basically you add in the control flow SSIS Designer area. So once you add this task, you can design this task in the data flow tab. If you double click on the task, it will directly take you to data flow tab. Now let's discuss more about that. Now if a package contains a data flow task, which we have just shown you, you can add data flows to the package. You construct the data flows in a package on the design surface of the data flow tab. So on the data flow tab, basically what we do is we create data flows. So whenever we switch between these tab, control flow and data flow, you see that toolbar items change accordingly. So once we are on the data flow tab, we see the toolbox items as per the data flow tab. So here we design basically the data flow. So we basically construct a data flows in a package on the design surface of the data flow tab, and we basically drag the items from the toolbox to the design surface and connect them into a data flow by clicking the icon for the item and then dragging the arrow from one item to another. It's just similar to the control flow tab. We drag items, we connect them using the arrows. Now the third tab is the parameter tab, which is this one, the parameters tab. Now let's discuss about it. So integration services parameters allows you to assign values to properties. So basically the role of parameters is to assign values to the properties within package at the time of package execution. So the role of parameter comes at the time of package execution. Then the role is basically to assign the values to the properties within the package at the time of package execution. And we can create project parameters at the project level. So parameters can be created at project level, and it can also be created, and there are also package parameters apart from project parameters that can be created at the package level. So parameters can be created at two levels. One is the project level, another one is the package level. Now let's talk about the project parameters. Now project parameters are used to supply any external input the project receives to one or more packages in the project. So project parameters, here it is describing the role of project parameters. So what is their use? They are used to supply the external input to the project received for one of its packages in the project, And what are package parameters? Package parameters basically allow you to modify package execution without having to edit and redeploy the package. So the package parameters control the execution flow of the package. So it basically alleviates us from editing and redeploying the package. If we are using parameters, those parameters, the package parameters provides us this flexibility. Now this tab allows you to manage the package parameters. So whatever packages are there, whatever parameters are there, and this tab basically allows us to manage any project level parameters or package level parameters. We will talk about the practicals on the parameters later on, so stay in tune. Please be subscribed to our channel. If you are new to this channel, please immediately subscribe. There is a subscribe button below this video. Do it quickly. Alright, let's go ahead. And basically this tab allows you to manage the package parameters, and parameters are only available to the projects developed for the project deployment model. Therefore, you will see parameters tab only for packages that are part of a project configured to use the project deployment model. So if we take a look at the solutions on the right side, you will see that it's a project, integration services project, you will see here. So it's the project deployment model basically, if we see a project. So if the project is configured as to use the project deployment model, we will see the parameters tab, otherwise not. Now let's talk about the event handlers tab, which is the fourth tab, which basically let's read about that. So what is the use of event handler tab? We basically construct the events in a package. So this tab helps us in constructing the events in a package on the design surface of the event handlers tab. So basically we construct the events on the design surface, and these are some of the tasks available, and yeah, these are some of the events available. We can add and delete events basically. So we can create events in the package on the design surface of the event handler tab. Later on we will show you the practicals, not in this video but in my upcoming videos, so stay tuned. On the event handlers tab, basically you select the package or package object. So we can select the package or package objects from here, and we select the associated event as well. So we have shown you how you can select a package or package object that you want to create an event handler for. So first task is to basically select a package, maybe bulk insert task. We can select an event like on error, do what. So we basically click here to create an on error event handler for executing the bulk insert task. So once we click on it, we can define the error handler for that event for bulk insert task, which is the event handler is on error. So on the event handlers tab, you select the package or the package object that you want to create an event handler for, and then we select the event to associate with the event handler. In our case, we have selected on error event. An event handler has a control flow and optional data flows. So event handler has both the control flows and the optional data flows as well. So here we are providing you a quick overview of the items we see in the SSIS designer. So this video will not be in much more detail. So later on we will cover each of these areas specifically. We will create more details videos on this. So please stay tuned. Please be subscribed. If you are new, click on the subscribe button below this video. Now let's talk about the package explorer tab. So package explorer tab, I think it's come on the right hand side. So this is the solution explorer, package explorer you can say, and this is not the package explorer. So the last tab is the package explorer tab. This is the fifth one. So let's talk about the package explorer tab. So packages can be complex sometimes. That can include many tasks, connections managers, connection managers, variables, and other elements. And the explorer view of the package lets you see a complete list of package elements. So through this view we can see a complete list of package elements. So under the executables we have bulk insert task, the data flow task, whatever tasks we have created in this project are coming under the executables, and the constants are coming under the precedence constant, and any of the variables are coming under the variable section. So this basically organizes, this tab basically organizes the package, the various components of package under a specific category. So yeah, this is the purpose of package explorer tab. Now let's come to progress execution result tab. So far we have not executed any project, so we will not see the progress execution result tab. So it comes when you execute a package. Now while a package is running, we will see a 6th tab, which is progress tab. It shows the execution progress of the package. And after the package has finished running, so once the package completes its running, the execution result remains available on the execution result tab. Now to enable or disable the display of messages on the progress tab, we can toggle the debug process progress reporting option on the SSIS menu. So we want to disable or enable the display of display of messages on the progress tab, which is the 6th tab that comes during the package execution. We can do that using the SSIS menu, debug progress reporting. So SSIS menu comes under the extensions SSIS. So if we want to turn it off, we can turn it off from here, the debug progress reporting. If we want to omit the messages on the executing or executable tab, we can uncheck that option. Now let's talk about the connections manager area, which is the bottom area on the control flow tab. We can see it here, connections manager. So basically we can add and modify the connections manager that a package uses in the connections manager area. So once we have created any connections, those can be added and modified in the connections manager area. So we can basically right click here and add a new connection from here as well. So you can add a connection, you can modify a connection from here as well under the connections manager area. So we can add and modify the connections manager that the package uses in the connections manager area. Integration services includes connections managers to connect to a variety of data sources. So we have a variety of connectors, such as we have connector for text files, we have connector for OLEDB databases, and the .NET providers. We can see a list here if we right click on it. So see, these are some of the connectors. We have OLEDB, flat file, radio.net, analysis services connection, new file connection, and any other type of connection can be added from the new connection option. So this is done, the connections manager area. Now let's come to the control flow tab. So let's go to the control flow tab. We are on the control flow tab, in fact. Now let's read about that. Now on the control flow tab of SSIS Designer, we basically use this tab to build the control flow in an integration services package or project. Now we create a control flow by dragging graphical objects that represent the SSIS tasks. So these graphical objects come on the left hand side. We can drag it on the SSIS Designer pane in the middle. Any of the tasks from the left hand side toolbox, the SSIS toolbox, we can drag the tasks. So we can drag the SSIS task, and we can also drag containers. So we, apart from tasks, we also have these containers, the for loop container, for each loop container, and the sequence container. We can drag containers as well. A container is basically used to group the tasks we have. So that is basically used for grouping. Let's go back to our notes. So we can drag the SSIS task and containers from the toolbox on the left hand side to the design surface of the control flow tab. Alright, and then connecting the objects by dragging the connector on an object to another object. So we have shown you how to connect the objects. We have connected the bulk insert task with this green arrow to the data profiling task, and this basically arrow shows the sequence of execution. So bulk insert task will execute first, and after that it will execute the data profiling task. So the arrow basically shows the control flow, which task will execute first and which one will execute next. Alright, and each connecting line represents a precedence constant. So basically this green line is a precedence constant. We call it precedence constraint in SSIS. So remember this terminology. This is a precedent constraint. So each connecting line represents a precedence constraint that basically specifies the order in which the task and containers will run. Alright, and additionally you can use SSIS Designer to add the following functionality from the control flow tab. So basically we can add the use the SSIS Designer to add the following functionality. Some of these functionality include: we can implement login, we can create package configuration, we can sign the package with a certificate, we can manage variables, we can add annotations, we can configure the breakpoints. We will talk about all these items later in more detail in our upcoming videos, so stay tuned. Now to add these functions to individual tasks or containers in SSIS Designer, right click the objects on our design surface and then select the option. So we can right click any of the object and select this option. So right click on the design surface. We have this option for logging, detail, signing, variables, etc. This is what we were talking about. So now let's talk about the data flow tab, which is the second tab. So we have a data flow task added. So if we double click on it, it automatically takes us to the data flow tab. Now let's discuss about this tab. So basically use the data flow tab of SSIS Designer to create data flows in an integration services package or project. Now create the data flows by dragging the graphical objects that represent sources, transformations and destinations from the toolbox to the design surface of the data flow tab. So we have objects type, we have destination, we have source, and we have some transformations, which are basically these functions which we can drag over here to implement a data flow task. And we can also connect these objects to create paths of execution that basically determines the sequence of execution in which the transformations run. Now we basically right click a path and then click data viewers. So we will talk about data viewers later in much detail. So basically on the data flow task, if we have suppose source, I'm not adding source, let's say I'm adding the aggregate task over here. It's taking time to add. So we have added the aggregation task, and let's see, we have added the data conversion task, and we have added connected both of these tasks by the precedence constraint. So let's see. Basically we can right click a path and then click on data view. So we want to see how much data has flown from this task to this task. We can enable data viewer on this precedent constraint. So we can enable data viewer like this. So basically it adds a magnifying glass which we can click at the execution time to see what data is there. So we can basically double click this to check the data as well. So we will show it to you later how to exactly to check data once we build in some of the projects. Right now we are just showing you how you can add the data viewers. So we have just shown you how to add data viewer by right clicking on the precedent constraint, and we can enable or disable the data viewer for a particular precedent constraint. To add the data views, to view data before and after each data flow object. So we can view the data. We can right click a path, we then click the data views to add the data views to view the data before and after each data flow object. We can also use data SSIS Designer to add the following functionality from the data flow tab. We can manage the variable. At the manage variable functionality, we can add annotations as well. Now to add these functions in SSIS Designer, right click the design surface and then select the option you want. So we can add it like this. We right click on the blank area, we can add variables, we can add an annotation. We'll talk about these later. Now let's talk about the event handler tab, which is the next tab, this event handler tab, and let's talk about it. I use the event handlers tab of SSIS Designer to build a control flow in an integration services package. So basically we build a control flow in the integration services packages using the event handler tab. An event handler runs in response to a particular event raised by a package. So when does event handler run? An event handler runs only in response to a event raised by a package or by a task or by a container in a package. So they get triggered when that particular event occurs. Now options, what are various options available? So we have executable option. So this is the executable section from where we can select a task, and we have event handler option, and we have delete option here. So executable option, in the executable drop down we select the executable for which you want to build an event handler. So earlier we have shown you we have selected the bulk insert task for which we want to build the event handler. And after selecting the executable can either be a package or a task or containers in the package. So we have selected a task, but it can be a package itself or it can be a container within the package itself. Next drop down is for the event handlers, where we select a type of event handler. So in our case we have selected the on error handler. So if this task gives us the error, at that time this event handler will execute. So on the event handler dropdown, we select a type of event handler and create the event handler by dragging the items from the toolbox. Now there's a delete button. We basically the use of delete button is to delete the event handler. We basically select an event handler and remove it from the package by clicking the delete button. Now we create the control flow by dragging graphical objects that represents SSIS task and containers from the toolbox to a design surface of the event handler tab. So on the event handler tabs we can also drag some tasks, but it is not allowing us to. It is saying click here to create an on handler event tab for this task. So if we click here, it will take us to a designer. Then we can add on the objects here as well on the event handlers tab, but it has to be done. So we define the flow here as well for the event handler. We'll talk about it in much detail later. For now, you can see you can also drag the tasks on the event handler design surface. Now basically we create the control flow by dragging graphical objects that represent SSI tasks and containers from the toolbox to the design surface of the event handlers tab, and then connecting the objects by using the precedence constraint, same as control flow and data flow tab, to define the sequence in which they run. Additionally, we can add annotations. We can right click the design surface and then on the menu we can click add annotations like this. We can right click and select add annotation, which is basically a notes. Let me delete this for now. We'll talk about it later in much detail. Now let's talk about the package explorer tab, so which is the last tab here, the fifth tab. Let's talk about it. Now we use the package explorer tab. So we use the package explorer tab of SSIS Designer to see the hierarchical view of all the elements in a package. So it basically shows all what all elements are present in our package. It shows us those elements in a hierarchical view. Alright, and what are these elements of the package? It shows us configurations. So it shows us configuration, it shows us connection managers, it shows us configurations, and it shows us event handlers and executable objects. So event handlers come in this section. Right now we don't have any event handler. We have executable, which are basically the tasks on the control flow area, and executable objects can include tasks and containers. We can also see log providers. Right now they are not here, so we have a folder, but none of the log providers are configured over here. So log providers can also be seen here. Precedence constraint and variables can also be seen here. If a package contains a data flow task, the package explorer tab includes the node that contains a hierarchical view of the data flow components. So right now we have not defined the data flow task, otherwise we will also get another category, data flow components, to see the data flow components. Now we can right click on the package element uh, and then click properties to show the properties of the element in the properties window. So how to view the properties? So for example, if we want to view the properties of bulk insert task, we can right click on it and click on the properties button, which will show the properties of the object on the right hand side bottom area in the properties window. Alright, otherwise if this window is closed, if you right click select properties, it will automatically show up the properties window for that particular item. Now let's go back to notes, and we can also delete the objects from here. We can delete elements from here. So from the hierarchical view as well, we can delete the bulk insert task. So we can right click on it and select delete. It will delete the bulk insert task, the control flow tab. Now this is how you can delete a task from the package explorer tab. Now let's move ahead and go to the progress tab, which basically comes when you execute the package. Right now we are not executing any package, so let's just read about it. So we basically use the progress tab of SSIS Designer to view the progress of execution of an integration services package, where you run the package in SQL Server data tools. The progress tab basically lists the start time, the finish time, and the elapsed time for validation and execution of the package and its executables. Any information or warnings for the package as well will be shown up on the progress tab. Any progress notifications, the success or failures of the package will be shown on the progress tab. And any error messages that are generated during the package execution will also show up on the progress tab. And we can enable or disable this error message showing up by turning off the debug process reporting from the SSIS menu we had shown you a few minutes back. And disabling the progress reporting can help improve performance while running a complex package in SQL Server data tool. So basically we disable the error reporting or progress reporting to basically improve the progress or improve the performance while running a complex package in SQL Server data tools. After the package stops running, the progress tab becomes the execution results tab. So far the execution is taking place. The tab remains as progress tab. Once the execution finishes, it will become execution results tab. Alright, now let's go to the next item, which is the connections manager area coming at the bottom of the control flow tab. So this is the connections manager area. Let's talk about it. So packages uses the connections managers to connect to a data sources, such as files can be one of the data sources, RDBMS can be one of the data sources, and servers can be one of the data sources. And we can use connections manager area of SSIS Designer to add, delete, modify, rename, and copy and paste the connections manager. Okay, so we basically add any connections in the connections manager. We can delete connections manager. We can delete the connections in the connection manager. We can modify the connections. We can rename the connections. We can copy and paste the connections in the connection manager as well. We can right click in this area, and then on the menu we can click the options for the task you want to perform. So in this area, when we right click, we get the option to add any new connections. Alright, and guys, we are done with this video. In this video we have talked about the SSIS Designer. So we have covered various components. We have talked about what all can be done by using the SSIS Designer. We have talked about how many end-to-end and redo operations you can do. We have also talked about the parts of SSIS Designer, and these parts include the control flow tab, the data flow tab, and the parameter tab. We also talked about the event handlers tab, the package explorer tab, the progress execution result tab, and we talked about the connections manager area in detail. So we have talked about all these things in detail. Although there's no much practical, we have just shown you we have given you a walkthrough of basically the SSIS Designer, what all components does it contain, so that you can get an idea. and get ease in working with the SSIS projects. So guys, I hope you like this video. In case you like this video, please click on the like button, and do post us your comments, do post us your thoughts via the comments. Also, let us know if you want us to make videos on any particular topics. Do let us know your thoughts, and do let us know your thoughts about this video as well. And also please share this video with your friends. Also ask your friends to subscribe to my channel in case you feel my channel is useful for them or my channel videos are useful for them. Please ask them to join as well. And you can share my videos with them. There's a share button option on the YouTube through which you can share my videos with them. And apart from that, if you are new to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. There's a subscribe button below this video. Click on that subscribe button. It will give you a bell icon. Click on that bell icon, select all notifications to get notifications regarding all my future videos. I thank you so much for your time on this video today, and you have a wonderful day ahead, guys. Thank you.